Hello and welcome back to the Zoho Creator How-To series. So in this video, following our last video of how to edit form fields, what we're actually going to be doing is we're going to be writing our first bit of code today. So what we want to do is I'm going to show you a simple hide and show code that is very useful for certain pieces of information. So you know what, let's just get right into it. So we have our form here that has been created already. And then we're going to go ahead and what we're going to do here is we are going to say that if we do not have a username on creation of the form, basically don't show anything else. Don't show anything else unless we have a username. And once we have a username, we will then show all the remaining fields. And then we'll modify it slightly as we go along. Okay, so without further ado, let's go ahead and start writing some code. So hit done on your form. And then in the top center, you'll see design workflow and settings. So we'll go into workflow. And what we'll want to do is create a new workflow. So create workflow. And now on this view, we have some choices here to run a workflow on any event in a form. So currently we only have one form, and we want to do a specific thing on create. So on create of a record is what we would want to select, but you have multiple options here: create, edit, and created and edited, as well as delete. So we will select create, and then when do we want the workflow to trigger, on which event. So you will select the drop down and you'll see all these choices here: field rules, load of the form, user input of a field, validations on form submission, successful form submission, and each of these are categorized under a different section: after form submission, on form submission, before form submission. So if we want to use the show hide, we would typically want to do that on the load of the form to begin to hide the fields. So we will select load of the form. So, and then last you want to give it a name. And so what I typically like to do in all the applications that I work on and build is I try to give it somewhat of a simplistic name so I can identify my workflows if I need to go back and make edits, do hot fixes, anything like that. So typically what I will do is I will say C for create on load scripts. So we've given it a name, and then you'll just need to hit select create workflow. So now that we're here, if you notice, it has a breadcrumb trail here that shows you on the add user form when a record is created on the load of the form, and then it has our name of our script that we're going to do. Okay, and you can name it whatever you want. This is just the way that I do it. You're free to do it as you please. So now once we're here, we want to add a new action. And on this action, the first thing you will note is we have a bunch of choices to the left here that we can use, or we can go ahead and just start to type. And for our purposes, since I want to show you how to do these things, is we are just going to type. So the first thing we want to do is type in either hide or show. And since this is the load of the form, we want to have everything but that username. Let me go into the live view here, right here. We want everything but this username to show on load. So let's go ahead and start to write some code. So you will start that by typing hide. Okay, and then you can just hit enter. And it's saying, okay, here now, what field do you want to hide? You can see a list of all the fields here. You are free to type them in if you like to get familiar, but for our purposes and to keep the video short, I'm just going to select. So as I mentioned, we want to hide everything other than the username. So what we will do is we will hide all the other fields. So we will hide the title, and then we'll go to a new line, Select hide again. Now, a cool trick here, we have several fields that we want to hide here. We have one. So since we're going to be doing this at least another 6 times, 5 or 6 times, we want to just basically copy this. So if you're on a Windows, the way that you do that is you would do Control, Shift, and D, and it will duplicate the field for you. So we will just, or the line for you. So we have 6 lines now. If you go back, you can see we already have title. We'll move on to phone, notes, status, date added, and not username, email. So now, congratulations, you've written your first lines of code. Now what you want to do, and this is giving you just, it's telling you a little bit about what this does, okay? So now we'll just go ahead and save this. Save. Okay. So now you see that saves and it adds it in the back here. Now let's go ahead and take a look at the live view of the form when it loads. So we'll go back to live view and then we're just going to refresh this. Let's see what our results are. As you can see on the load of the form, as soon as we hit refresh, only the username is here. So now if I try to type in here, what do you expect is going to happen? So test user, and then I'll just click out of it. As you can see, nothing happens here. And that's because we've only given it one command. When a user is created on the load of the form, to hide these fields. But we're not telling it to do anything else. So what we'll want to do is we want to actually tell this to do something after. So this is where things get a little bit interesting. So this is a very simple and powerful tool to show hide. So what we're going to do to keep this video short is we're going to end it here, and in the next video I'm going to show you how to actually program this so when we type in a username, it actually will go ahead and show these fields. And so let's do that in our next video, and congratulations, you've written your first few lines of code. Very simplistic, easy to understand. If you have questions about this, be sure to leave a comment down in the comments below, and I will see you in the next video. Thank you for watching. Be sure to like, subscribe, and comment for more videos like this.